Hello, my name is Keren Chded Taub, and I'm a couples therapist, and this is another episode of the podcast, Just the Two of Us. Today, I want to answer a question I was recently asked. Somebody approached me and has asked me, how could I nudge my partner into doing some of the chores around the house? She said, I need to make him understand that things need to be done. And I hear that a lot in my practice, that women take on what we call the mental load of managing all the household chores, and if there are children involved, then managing all the extracurricular activities of the kids, and having the kids go and get their shots on time, and doctor's appointments and everything. And then women feel overwhelmed, and this overwhelm makes for two things. One is decision-making fatigue, that by the end of the day, if the man in this scenario asks the woman, what do you want to do? She just wants somebody else to make decisions for her. And granted, that might not do the trick because you might not make the right decisions that she wants you to make, but still she feels very tired from making all the decisions all day long. So that's one thing to think about, and understanding that when we wake up in the morning, we have more energy to make decisions and more willpower, and by the end of the day, we have less, and that also has to do with things we want to get done. Let's say we want to keep fit and exercise, or if we want to keep to a certain healthy diet, by the end of the day, our willpower has almost diminished, and we need to make these decisions earlier around the day. So if we want, let's say we want to eat healthy, by the end of the day, we have to make decisions at the beginning of the day. What are we going to eat at the end of the day? So that's just kind of a side note. But going back to the fact that a woman has a list of everything that needs to be done, kind of an inner Excel sheet of everything that needs to be done, and kind of oversees everything. And she rarely shares this document with her male partner. And that's a problem, because she expects you to know exactly what's going on in her mind, but she doesn't tell you everything. So what can you do? I mean, she can't blame you for not mind reading. Oh, but she does. And you get judged, and you get points deducted because you don't do your job. So what can be done? First of all, understanding that if you live in a household where the division of labor is more or less 50-50, then this is something that needs to be discussed. If it's a classical division of labor where the woman is in charge of the household and the man is in charge of working outside, then that's something else. But if there is an expectation of sharing the load, then you need to talk about what this load is. What are the chores that need to be done? When do they need to be done? And a simple model called Fair Play has it down as in a game. In this model, she says that you need to kind of make a list of all the chores that you have to do, and I'll link to her website when in the description of this episode. But understanding that you need to kind of make a list of all the chores that need to be done during the coming week, and then kind of looking at them as play cards. Each chore is a card, and understanding what cards you want to take, what cards you want to exchange, what cards you don't want to hold. Let's say I'm holding the laundry card. And I don't really do laundry that well, or let's say I get it disgusts me doing the laundry. But I'm fine with doing the dishes, and you have the dishes card, then maybe we can exchange cards. Now, if I have the laundry card, then somebody else, let's say, needs to hold the card that does hanging the laundry or folding the laundry. So we need to understand what it takes. What does the laundry card entail? That's one thing. If, let's say, you're holding the cooking card, then cooking for Sunday meals or for Shabbat meals, then kind of planning ahead would mean that you need to make a list of choose what's on the menu for Saturday, for Shabbat, and then making a list of a shopping list. And that needs to be done ahead. And who does the shopping? And the person who does the shopping, let's say the shopping's done on Thursday, then the list needs to be done by Wednesday. So some of the cards kind of are combined with other cards. If I want to bake a cake for a birthday party on Friday, then I need to plan ahead and have the products that I need for baking. I need them on the list ahead of time. So understanding what the chore is, do I need to coordinate with somebody else around this chore? And also what's expected? Because sometimes the fight is about when a chore should be done and what is the level that it's done at. Because if I think the house needs to be clean, and when I say clean, I mean organized as well, and you think that the house needs to be clean, that's only cleaned and organizing it is something completely different, then these are completely different standards. So we need to understand what's the minimal standard required of this chore. And when we discuss it, we need to have this very clear, as Brene Brown puts it, paint me a picture. When you say you want the house clean, what do you mean? How do you expect it to be clean? Now, I don't have to agree with all the specifications of your request, but I want to understand exactly what you envision when you think that I'm taking over this chore. When would you want it done? How would you want it done? And then I can react to that and say, well, it's not going to be done exactly like that. I'm not going to do it on Tuesday. I'm going to do it on Wednesday. And I'm not going to use that special detergent that you want because I really don't like the smell, but I am going to use something else. So that's a discussion that could be made. Now, that entails for the person holding the mental load, as I said, usually from research, it's the woman. You need to let go a bit. You can't hold everything. You can't have it all done your way completely. And you also, and then also complain that you're doing everything by yourself. It's a trade-off. You need to kind of give a little and then enjoy kind of the shared experience of having things done together. So I'm going back. What's the mental load? The mental load is when usually the woman holds this whole picture in her head of everything that needs to be done around the house, with the kids, with the in-laws, with the neighbors, with the friends, with the community, everything that needs to be done. And she doesn't share it with her partner, and she feels alone and she feels overwhelmed. And then it kind of seems like he's oblivious and he's kind of skating by and doing his thing and only his thing. So you need to schedule a weekly meeting where you talk and discuss the chores. what's expected to be done, by what time is it expected to be done, and who's doing what. And if chores need to be coordinated, how do you coordinate them? And that means understanding at the most fundamental level that your partner's in this, and that these chores are your chores. And if for some reason one of you is more invested in the house being more organized than the other, then the person who doesn't mind the mess needs to understand, why is it so important for you that the house is organized? And one person can say, because when it's such a mess, it reminds me of past traumas of the house that was so chaotic and unsafe when I grew up. Or when the house is unorganized, my ADHD goes wild and I can't concentrate on anything. Really understanding why it's so important for the other person can even increase our intimacy and strengthen our relationship, because I really care about you and I want you to feel comfortable around the house, and not going into this dynamic of a parent and child, go organize your room and I don't want to, and that kind of interaction isn't working for you as a couple. So having this first and foremost, if you want to deal with the feeling that it's unfair, that the division of labor in your home, in your partnership, in your relationship, then you need to understand that this is a really long and important conversation for the two of you to have, and say, I want to discuss this. I want to talk about me feeling that this relationship isn't working for me, that I feel like I'm the slave in this house, that I feel taken advantage of, that I feel like the parent. I don't feel like we're partners here. I don't feel like you see me. And these are all very important themes that ultimately come up in my practice, but you can talk about them between the two of you and try to handle it by yourselves. And if you can't, I'm here. You can always reach out. But if you want to discuss it, understanding that what does this mean for you is a very important question. Why is it so important for you that we have a home-cooked meal every evening? Why is it so important for you that that I don't know, that laundry is done 3 times a week when we can do it once a week? Everything. All these questions are ways into your partner's inner world. So that's the first thing, understanding why things are important and what the expectations are from your partner. When you say you want the house clean, what does that mean for you? Paint me a picture. And then after you have this list of chores, then you trade them. You say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And if there are like 5 chores left where nobody wants to do them, then you trade. You say, okay, I really don't want to do this, but I can take this one on. And you say, I really don't want to do this, but I can take this one on. And understanding that next week you're going to have the same conversation and you can trade chores. Look, we both don't want to do shopping, but I did it this week. Can you please do it next week? Or I really don't have the time this week to do the cooking. Can you do it this week? So that's also kind of talking about your expectations and not kind of expecting the other person to mind read. So we have this kind of big plan of how we can tackle the feeling of unfair division of labor. And I want to bring in another concept from the 80-80 marriage. And there they say that if you practice radical generosity and you say, okay, I'm going to do my 80% and the other person does their 80%, then you're automatically on 120%. You're not kind of, you're not being stingy, and you're not being kind of with your book and kind of calculating, do you do enough chores? Did I do enough chores? And we're 140% over the, so we're always doing more. So it doesn't have to be a division that is really split down the middle of I'm doing 20. So understanding that it's not exactly split down the middle, and it's not me doing exactly 21 chores and you doing exactly 21 chores, but it's understanding that we're both in it and we're invested. That's really important. So I want to take you back and kind of think of all these things that we've discussed. The mental load, the expectations, when you say this chore, what exactly do you mean? Which chores each one of us takes, and how are they connected to each other's chores? And by when do you expect it to be done? And when can I do it by? And kind of having this weekly meeting of understanding everything. And then asking your partner, why is it so important? And using this chore experience as an opportunity to deepen your relationship. And also we've discussed radical generosity, saying, I'm going to do 80% in this marriage because this relationship is important to me. And I'm not going to be stingy, and I'm not going to kind of expect you to do exactly 50%. I'm going to do my 80%. Of course, we're talking about healthy relationships where we're each going to do our best. So thank you for listening to this episode. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you need to, if there are any questions that I didn't address, please text me, write me, and look up other episodes. And if you want to reach out for therapy, my practice is in Israel, in Haradar, and I also do work via Zoom. So thank you for listening to just the two of us. And if you like what you heard, please share it on. Bye-bye.